Hi, everyone. My name is Anna, and welcome to today's message. Today's message is the sun and the moon from Psalm 24:1. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something different than I have in the past today. I'm going to ask you to use your imagination. And while you're listening, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and hear with your heart, just for a few moments. Imagine a man and a woman meet. And this man tells the woman, I prayed to God under the moon for you. I like to stand outside and pray at night to the sky when it's crisp and clean and under the moon. And that is what I did. And I feel like God brought you to me. Imagine that these two people really loved each other, and it was that prayer that brought them together. And God was doing miraculous work on both. And imagine that the relationship that seemed so unbelievably magical turned sour and ended. Imagine getting your prayer answered, and then these people used that prayer instead of honoring it, and so it failed. Not because the prayer wasn't answered, it certainly was answered, but because they were too afraid to face the shadows brought from it. Because fear is made of darkness and light is made of love. And his prayer for that woman and her prayer for that man, it was foiled by darkness. Not darkness of night, but darkness in the heart, where love truly resides. Can you see it? Now open your eyes and listen to what I have to say, keeping that vision that you had. See, the Bible will explain to you that worshiping celestial bodies, including the moon, is something that the Israelites were warned about. God created the moon, stars, and the sun, but he is still the Father, and these are his creations made to his purpose. Now, this man, he wasn't worshiping the moon, but he was doing something that he didn't understand entirely. So let me explain. Here is how God created the moon and the sun and how it relates to us as humans. You see, the moon and the sun are intentional, but you have to read between the lines to understand it. The moon is dark, and the only reason that it shines is because it reflects the sunlight off of its surface. That's the only reason that we can actually see it. It doesn't produce light like the sun and the stars do. It reflects light from the dust and the rocks on its surface, and they cause the light to scatter out. And that is how we see it here. And despite its reflection, it only truly reflects around 12% of the light from the sun, which is what we see here on Earth. And it looks bright because of its shadow, essentially, depending on the light it reflects. Now, I want you to pay attention to my next statement. Because the Earth and the moon have a changing proximity, the position of the sun to the moon reflects, making it look full or barely visible, allowing us to see only a portion of the illumination. And atmospheric conditions can affect what we see. The clarity of the sky, light pollution, and scattering make the moon appear dim or light, even though sometimes it makes it seem colorful. So its brightness is enhanced by its closeness to the earth. The scattering of the light determines how we see it. Now, I'm going to flip that statement in a moment and make it a little easier for you to understand. So let me begin to explain the purpose of my lesson today. This is what many do not understand, which is the intentional creation of a daily reminder to us here on earth. It reflects who we are and what we are to become. Like the sun is light and the moon is darkness, so is the soul. Not just in light and dark, but also in duality and balance. The sun is vital to the earth's survival, and its clarity is its growth. The moon is dark and represents reception and perception. And together, without harmony, with the sun providing the energy and direction and the moon giving space for the light to reflect, it is only in this acceptance of strength and weakness that it finds purposeful growth and choosing unity. This is actually the cycle of a human life. This is how we choose light and let go of what does not serve us. And in essence, the God who created both of these cosmic miracles is reminding us that our soul is a balance between light and dark. Two very, very powerful forces that literally guide us in our human life, but only when we choose to be faithful to God and understand the purpose. So here is that statement again in a different light, pun intended. Because men and women have changed in proximity, the position of their hearts reflect each other, making them look full of love or only barely visible, allowing us to only see its illumination or its full brightness of Christ within. Human conditions affect what we see. Mind clarity, heart pollution, and scattering thoughts make the heart appear dim or light, and even make it seem colorful sometimes. So its brightness is enhanced by the closeness to Christ. The scattering of the light and dark determines how we see it. And survival depends on the love that we reflect. We must be in harmony and balance to obtain the energy and direction that we need to survive. Now, this man who prayed under the moon asked God for something very special without even realizing he had done it. He was asking God for light because he wanted to reflect to her the love that was found in light. But he didn't realize is that his light would only reflect his own surface. The woman he prayed for reflected his own light and dark back to him, which was the moon reflecting only a sliver, because he couldn't reflect what the sun was shining on him. And the sun could only reflect her true self, the light God put in her, but the moon could only show her what she could see within her own light, which was only a small portion of what she was capable of, maybe 12% or less. Without accepting the other in the right direction and with God at the center, they failed to see the capacity meant for them. They couldn't find the duality or the balance. And she couldn't properly use her intuition or her emotions, and he couldn't properly use his strength or his actions. And both celestial creations represent the truth of men and women. They only experience what they reflect as their own behavior on the other. They mirror each other. And the truth is that understanding them is what creates the personal dynamic that is so miraculous when people come together, so resonating to the inner self that it sometimes gets missed. This is a universal alignment with Christ. This is strength and balance, a partnership, harmony, and growth. And it's the personal alignment that can only be seen at its best when it reflects who you truly are and who you choose to be seen in your fullness. When the moon is full and it reflects all the light from the sun, not just some of it. So when this man was praying under the moon, he was praying to God for reflection of self. And God chose a woman who could do that for him with her love. And instead of reflecting love for each other, they reflected the shadows of self, which were not very shiny, which caused the worst possible case scenario, more darkness than light. And it was only through the self-reflection that they could find the brightest light. And it is only in the season of finding a true soul within that we find the light within. And it's only when we choose to be reflective of the light that we become all we are meant to be. It's only in alignment with God, who creates the sun and the moon, that we find our true light and that we can shine for each other. And this is when these two souls come to work in harmony and create the best outcome. It is a beautiful and colorful existence. And my friends, this message today has very little to do with the moon and the sun, but only proof that God gives us a chance to shine over and over in cycles repeated for the world to see. Every day is a new chance and every night a new cycle, which allows for growth and reflection. And it's only when we choose the light that we reflect our brightest self. And this is not a made-up story. This is a true story from my life about a man who prayed for me and who eventually brought me to see the light I was reflecting and the shadow parts I needed to see. And about the woman who was reflecting light, but all he could see was his own shadow in the mirror and not her light, which is what she saw in him. And over the last many months, I've come to see the light in every place in my life. And I'll never know if it reflected enough on him for him to see his true light. But I will always know that his lack of light allowed me to see mine. And for that, I will always be grateful. So my friends, let your crazy heart shine on and reflect God's essence from within, because this truly is what saves us. In a world where you can be anything, choose to be love. Love is the answer. If this resonated with you, please like and share my post. And thank you for your donations to my divine mission and for helping me to keep my messages alive. I'll see you tomorrow.